adopted. The position, so far as the inspector is concerned, is that there is a draft marine plan in existence, isn't there? We don't know, as with any draft marine plan, when that is going to, and what in its exact final form, when that's going to become a final and an approved plan. But it is potentially something which is a material consideration in making decisions in relation to marine planning. Would you agree with that, Mr. Goodwin? Not at the moment, potentially, but it may be.
I'd agree it's something to take into consideration, but it goes to the weight, doesn't it? If it's something that is in draft and hasn't been adopted, then we can't actually look to the future. That's no different from, I'm much more used to seeing lots of planning documents that may not be, maybe in the early stages of production. So for me, it's the weight that goes to something.
As an aside, I would, and this is more not a question to you, Mr. Goodwin, just so far as the other parties are concerned, there is, which we will put into submissions, legal submissions, DEFRA guidance to the MMO in relation to marine plans that we will make reference to. But just so far as the planning process, Mr. Goodwin, I think you've seen, and have you not, and some of the draft plan ideas or concepts, haven't you?
Yes.
One of them at the moment, SWNG1, which has been put into the SEI statement of case, so it's people have had access to it already, and if anyone wants to have a cross-reference to it, it's page 12, it's CD 6.4, and it's page 12. I don't know whether everyone is there.
I'm just getting there. It's just being downloaded.
It's in relation to your statement in your witness statement. However, I have reviewed the relevant policies and consider that the proposal complies with the marine plan. You've indicated that you don't. It's a draft plan, to be fair to your position, but you then go on and say you still think that this would be compliant with the draft marine plan. Let me know when you are there.
Yeah, I'm here. What
it's marine policy SWNG1.
Sorry, let me just write that down while I hunt.
This is CD 6.4.
Yeah, I'm in 6.4.
Page 12.
Page 12. Okay, I'm on page 12.
And I was directing your attention to one of the draft policy proposals, which is Marine Policy SWNG1. Proposals should deliver environmental net gain for marine or coastal natural capital assets and services. Proposals that may have significant adverse impacts on marine and coastal natural capital assets must demonstrate that they will, in order of preference, avoid, minimize, mitigate, and compensate for significant adverse impacts and deliver environmental net gain. So your statement that you've reviewed the relevant policies and consider that the proposal complies with the marine plan, obviously planning policies are indicators for inspectors and secretaries of state to follow. They're not binding, but which part of that marine policy do you think is not applicable or doesn't? I think you said that the proposal complies with.
Well, because as far as I'm concerned, the proposal, the plan or project that's on the table, has been designed in such a way as to avoid or minimise those effects, and also the mitigation of where we've placed the LVSE heads. So what I'm saying is we've gone through those stages. I mean, avoid, minimise, mitigate, compensate is a very standard thing for ecology. So insofar as it's a draft policy that seeks that you should be doing that, I believe that the proposal does that. That's what I meant by it, was complying with it.
Do you agree with me that there is going to be some environmental harm caused by the operation of HPC?
Yes, and I agree with that in terms of, but I'm relating it back, of course, to the regs, that there may well be some harm that's generated, but of course that's not the test in relation to those regulations. But as I say, in terms of these being just a draft policy, I've looked through those as draft, and as I say, I felt it was appropriate, particularly in the light of the Environment Agency's position, but looking at things like that, that I'm happy that we wouldn't infringe those policies.
Yes. Subject to, for example, compensating for the harm that may be caused.
Well, as I say, it's a draft policy, so it's difficult to go into it, as far as I'm concerned, in that much detail. I mean, it's the same proposal in terms of the Environment Act that's coming through. It's not there yet, but people are talking about it. But at the end of the day, this is just draft. We don't know whether that changes in terms of that last provision on D. But as far as I'm concerned, the plan or project has avoided and minimised or mitigated, the harm in relation to the designated sites. So that's what I meant about it, as in terms of the generality of looking at those policies and not saying that we were out of step with them, but noting that they were unadopted and draft.
Thank you, Mr. Goodwin. I've no further questions for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Moore.